guys know what this load is, as I already told you. So pay attention. You guys are going 3,000 foot a second. I'm going to go one click left. Well, it
feels like you're getting punched in the face.
Got it again. I think I got it where it belongs. That time I flipped it up. It hit too. Hey guys, Lencac here. Just took delivery of something that I have. This is the 16th of June, and I ordered this on January 1st of this year. And it quite literally took 6 months to get it. But this is Arken Optics scope I bought. And like I say, it was highly touted. Looked like it was a hell of a scope for the money I spent on it. But we're going to find out. As you can see, I got some rings for it, and this is a level. And because I had to wait for 6 months, they threw in a couple of covers for the scope also. So that's pretty good, but this is what we got. This is the Arken scope, and it's this one here. It is the 6 by 24 power by 50 millimeter objective lens, first focal plane scope with a MOA reticle in it. And so let's, this is going to be my, let's take a first look at this thing. There you go, like that. And let's start unpacking this thing. It looks like they got used some pretty good, looks like they used some pretty good packaging on it. Got some little bikini covers on it. And let's see, let's take that off. Let's pull that off of there. And oh, this is your sunshade here. Let's slide that off. All right. That's the sunshade. And this is the Arken scope. This is the Arken scope right here, guys. It's a 34 millimeter objective, or I mean a 34 millimeter tube, and 24 power, illuminated reticle. This is your parallax adjustment, of course, elevation, windage, and feels like it's got nice crisp detents. All right. And we got this. Okay, it tells me 15 inch-pounds of torque on the, no doubt for the rings. But it's got some heft to it. It feels, you know, it's got some heft on it. But I'm going to put this on my Gruning, which means I'm going to retire the Springfield Armory government model scope I have on it, which was a 6 to 20 power illuminated reticle. I've had that on there for a long time. Good scope, however, it's old. That scope is about, I give it probably about 20 years old. And so at any rate, I saw this. It looks like this has some very nice features for the money we spend on it. And so let's move on over to the bench and see if we can start doing something with this. Like I said, I want to put it on my Gruning. So let's head over to the other bench. All right, this is the Gruning, and any of you that's been watching my channel for any length of time, you've probably seen me with this out at the range. But I've had this rifle quite a long time. And over the years, I've made some pretty hellacious shots with this thing. And of course there is the M1A that I built a few months ago that you guys, it's in my previous videos, which currently has the Springfield Government Model 4 to 14 power scope, which is a little bit older than the 6 to 20 power. I think the 6 to 20 power needs to go on to the M1A, and we'll end up retiring this scope. Good scope too, but that scope is. I got that scope when I had my when I got my other M1A when it was built as a national match rifle by Springfield Armory Custom Shop, which had to be somewhere towards the early 90s. So this is an old scope too. Always worked well. So anyways, but I don't know, I'll retire it for the time being. Who knows, it may find its way onto something else in the future. But I think the 6x20 scope here will end up going on that rifle. And we are going to put the Arken optics scope on the Gruning. And so we need to start, I need to pull that old scope off and go through the routine of getting it all mounted up. So let's get started. Alright guys, of course I've already checked this, it's not loaded, but let's pull the bolt on it anyways. This thing has a feather light trigger on it. I mean, you just barely touch it and it goes off. This is not a hunting rifle, guys. This weighs over 16 pounds. Extremely light trigger on it. You're not taking this thing hunting with you, that's for sure. And I have these are worn steel rings, and they're really good rings, with the exception of the fact they're an absolute pain in the ass to take on, to install and take off, because they're clamshell like this sideways, so it isn't like you just get to pull the, loosen on the Picatinny and pull the thing off. You got to physically physically dismantle the rings to get, to even get them off or onto around a scope. So let's get them off. And they have these little guys in there too, which are not permanent in the scope until it's mounted. So there's always that too. But like I say, they're really good rings. Nevertheless, they're a pain in the ass to put on and take off of the scope. So there you go. That's the old Springfield scope off of it. And now this is what is going to go on it. Alright? And I've got the 34 millimeter rings. These are low rings. And of course, as any good scope manufacturer would do, they give you the mounting tool. This is a Torx also. I don't know what size this is. This looks like it might be a 20 maybe or something. But let's get the rings taken apart. And so I have to do a little measuring on that, because it looks like this is a little bit wider than the mount slots. So let's do some check and see if it just needs a little bit of massaging to get it to fit in there. So let's check it out. Alright guys, I got my caliper here, and this slot is 198 thousandths wide. let's check the slot in the mount. And that is about 10 thousandths, that's 88 thousandths. So we have about a 10 thousandths difference in size. These are 10 thousandths bigger than the slot in my Picatinny mount there. So let's see what we're going to have to do to get that thing to fit in there. Alright guys, I got the lower halves on. I had to just dress the recoil lug on the lower halves of the rings just a little bit to get them to fit in, but boy, they're not going anywhere. They're tight. And so in hindsight, I don't know if that's on purpose they did it that way, but it didn't take much. I just kind of had to touch it up with my file a little bit, and so they fit in there. I mean, they get in there, and they're tight as all get out. Of course, I kind of had to take them and use a wooden dowel a little bit and tap them in so that I know that they were seated all the way in, that sort of thing. But I think we should be good to go on the lower halves. And I did a preliminary check on eye relief. It's going to end up being somewhere right in there. So let's take and put the upper halves of the rings on it now. And how I do this is, of course, when you put the two halves together, you're going to have some space between the upper and the lower, because obviously if there wasn't, they wouldn't tighten around the scope. And so what I'll do is I'll take and I'll bring one sleeve, one side a bit loose, and I'll draw the other side up so that the two halves come together. And then I'll start to move adjust the screws so that I have the same amount of open space on each side of the ring. And on these are tight. There's very little there. So these are very, very machined pieces. They're obviously made to very tight tolerances. And so what I got here is okay, now I got this other side tightened down too, but what I have is I have it set so that this side, the two halves meet. This side is where the open side is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to move. I'll move these a quarter of a turn each out so it loosens them up, and I'll move these guys down until I see I have the same amount of clear space here on each, about the same on each side. All right, so they're a little bit tight right now, and so the next thing to do is to check the eye relief and then make sure that the scope is level to the rifle. All right, I think my eye relief is good, but now I'm going to loosen them up just a little bit here, because I have to turn the scope in the rings so I can get it level. And the way I do that is sometimes I'll use levels on it, but ultimately what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the vertical line of the scope. I want to see it run directly through the center of the rifle. That's provided your scope is mounted on the center line axis of the barrel. And the way I'll do that is, of course, in order for that to work properly, to do it by eye, to get the vertical line through the center of the axis, you have to hold your eye true to the scope. You can't have it off any. All right, I think that should be pretty good right there. So let's give these a little tightening down again. All right, I think that should be good. I'm going to pull it off the stand here and eyeball it once. All right, guys, I think I like it. I think it all looks true to me. Where's my, I put my shade on it. Let's screw our sunshade on it. You gotta have the sunshade on it so it protects you in the sun and makes the scope look appropriately impressive, of course. Like that. Next thing is there's no battery in it for the illuminated reticle. I may have to steal one out of my Springfield scope. If it's the same one, I guess I'll have to see. It probably tells me, it probably tells me in the instruction manual on this thing. Anyways, guys, I think we're just about there. Let me see if I can round up a battery for the illuminated reticle on it. Alright, there you go. That's a little view of the reticle in this scope. Kind of hard to hold my hand steady, but you guys get the idea. I don't know if you can see the illuminated reticle. Let's see if we can turn the light down a little bit, see if we can get a little better shot of that. Alright, there you go. There's a shot of the reticle. That's on low power, so I could get it to get some kind of image. But that's what the reticle looks like, illuminated in the center with the center crosshair. So, alright. That's good. Alright, there it is. I think I got it all put on. Put the level on it. And of course there's the old one. And this is the new one, Arken Optics. So I think what would be in order at this point now is to take it to the range and do a little, get it zeroed and do a little range test on it. See how it works, see how it tracks, all that stuff. But anyways, guys, there you go. That's my short little video on putting a new scope on the beast, the Gruning precision rifle. And it's a beast, no doubt about that. But alright guys, appreciate y'all watching. This is Lencac over and out.